This Halloween special of Let's Create for VTT will be a bit like Trick or Treat, because today, 1 month after the beginning with Cibola 8, it is time to have a closer look on what we did so far and how well we proceeded in reaching our goal, which was pushing the boundaries of imagination when it comes to generate content for all game systems in your favorite virtual tabletop on Foundry VTT. To do so, we will generate an entirely new adventure from scratch, and I will use this video to show you what we've implemented so far and how you can use the tools in Cibola 8 to change the way you prepare adventures. I'm sure this will be a lot of fun, especially since I'm also curious if this will be a horror trip or if we get some sweet results. So let's go, and before we start, or if you want to start with Cibola 8, please make sure to support us on Patreon and also check that you always have the latest version installed. We did so many updates during the last 30 days, it's completely crazy. Have a look at the other videos on this channel or our logs. We integrated new AIs, we developed user interfaces, we developed a lot of new powerful functions. So that's very important. Make sure you have the latest version of Cibola installed. It will change frequently. The next thing you have to do is activate the module. If you started a new world, you do this by opening the settings and go to the Manage Modules tab. There you have the option to select Cibola 8, and for this video I also activated Tokenizer. It's an amazing plugin you can use to turn images generated by Cibola into tokens that you can use on maps. Okay, so after you did this, save and close and go back to the chat window, because here in the chat window in the bottom right corner you will see a small Cibola item, and this can also be placed as a macro in your shortcuts. You will need this frequently if you improvise during games or also if you want to develop adventures on your own. So it's always a good idea to have that ready. And this is also where we will start our journey. So I click on it, and if you start in a new game world with a new module like Cibola 8, one of the first things you might want to do is change the language to a language that you fluently speak. So therefore we have a localization function in Cibola. You can open it by using the master AI interface, and there you can select the module that you want to translate. So this would be Cibola 8. You can select a source language and a target language, and whatever language you pick, as soon as you started the translation, it will be added to the language files, and you can then select it, reload your world, and all your interfaces will be readable for you. So that's quite handy right in the beginning, and once you did that, we can now start generating the adventure. To keep this productive, I already prepared a prompt, and I will now open a new chat with the Cibola AI in the chat window of Foundry, and there I will enter it, and while it's generating I will tell you what it's about. So what did I do here? I basically prepared a structured prompt in which I told the AI exactly what I need, and as I know that I'm going to be generating content, I could also make the AI give me some prompts. So I told the AI that I want a mini adventure for a virtual tabletop in a magical Aztec city. I told the AI that I need 3 players and 2 locations, and for those locations and players I always wanted a name, a description, an image prompt, etc. pp. So you will see this when we use those prompts. In the beginning it's always a good idea to start with the locations, because with the locations you can also select a style, and our first location here will be the Temple of Shadows. I copy the name of it already, and then I go to the Cibola Master AI interface, and here I have a button which allows me to generate a scene right out of Cibola, and there are different ways to start the generation. You could either start by using the gallery. There's a personal gallery which contains the pictures you generated before, and there's also a public gallery with images of other users. Today I'm going to go with the generate function because I can access the gallery there as well, and I don't need a special folder where I want to save the scene. So now I create it, and this is the main Cibola editing window. Here you can upload a file, you could pick something from the gallery, and you can generate. In addition, there's also a configuration tab where you can select a drawing style and a behavior of the standard AI, and you can select more advanced AI models as well if you want them. We will do this later, but now we go with the standard AI because the first thing we have to do is select a style which we like and which we want the adventure to be in. So we could basically start by experimenting around, or we could do something from scratch. I will show you what I mean by that. So I select a theater of the mind here, and I also select size of the image, and then I go to the chat and I take the image prompt from the AI conversation that I already created. I put it here and I will just generate our first theater of the mind with the standard AI, so you have a feeling of what this can do. Okay, so this is the first one. Let's have a look. It's beautiful. I like this style, but it's not the only option that we have. I will show you some more now. For example, let me show you how you can pick a style from an image that's already existing. Let's say we go with some I generated before, or let's go with one out of the community gallery instead. It's also very nice. Yeah, you will find a lot of cool stuff within the community gallery, especially if you use the search function, which is also driven by AI. This one is really cool. So let's go with this one. Let's pick this style for our adventure. And I can now take this image, I can save it. Of course, it's not the scene we wanted to have, but we can sketch this now. We take the style of the image with the sketch function. Here you can select what you need the AI to work with. You can even generate a sketch in this window. So if you go to this function, there is an improvised sketch function where you can do simple drawings or outlinings of things like buildings or cities or maps, and you can then use this as a sketch for the AI. But in this case I go for style and I will enter the image prompt, the same one that I used before. I could also improve prompts, I can show you that later as well, and I could even add a negative prompt here. That means I can tell the AI what I do not want to see. For example, if I have a Viking ship and it's full of Vikings and I want a Viking ship without Vikings, then I could use this setting. But now I will generate the image, so you see this option as well. So here's our sketch generation. This is the temple. It's looking a bit Asian. It's okay, it's a beautiful style. It's depending on what you want to do. You could also change the prompt as well. So if I, for example, now take another AI and I go to, let's say, MIDI journey, for example, and back to image generation, then I could add something to the prompt to change what I get. Go for a theater of the mind as well, go for a wide range and add the original prompt. And now I could add something. For example, I could tell the AI that I want to have this in a fantasy comic style, and then I will generate this image. And Midjourney is a great AI as it gives you always 4 choices, so those images are all amazing. But you can then work with those images, you can continue working with them. So one thing you always have to do if you generate it is pick the one you like, so it can be selected and upscaled. So here are the buttons for it. You see they are all associated with a quarter of the image, and this one is the bottom left. So I go for the bottom left and I upscale this image to get my first theater of the mind. So this is the final result, and we could now save this image to our scene. And I also asked the AI to give me more information about the scene, so I could really make it a bit immersive. I will close this now, and one of the things I wanted the AI to give me was sound. So I go to the sound tab now, and before I do that, I will copy the sound prompt. So this is the background music I have. I copy this. And now I could go back to the Cibola Master AI interface. I open a new song and I give the song a name. I call it Temple of Shadows as well. And now I have the option to enter some lyrics. I don't want lyrics in this case, as it should be background music only. So I also don't want the AI to generate lyrics. Instead, I will enter my prompt into the music style and read it again, because I read something about drum beats and I don't want to have drum beats in the song. I want to have the chants. The haunting atmosphere is also fine. And now I can add something. I will add that I want a background music like a movie theme. And then I can generate the audio. And while the audio is generating, I can prepare a playlist for the scene. So I go to the music tab, I go to the generate playlist, and I call this playlist the Temple of Shadows as well. And while I did that, the songs already showed up here. You always get two choices with this music AI we're currently using. So now I generate the playlist, and I can also pre-select that I want a specific playback mode and I want the tracks to play simultaneously. I will show you why in a second. Okay, so we update this playlist and we check our songs. Let's listen to the first one. Yeah, that sounds already good. I think that's fine. I can use this song. I don't have to wait for the second option. So I save this to my playlists and I take it to the new playlist here. And I can already set this song to loop as I want it to be constantly in the background of my scene. And now I go back to the chat window and I select the introduction for the scene. And I copy this as well. I can close this window, go to the generate audio again, and this time I will generate a narration. And the narration is also great. You can do narrations almost everywhere in your journal entries, in descriptions, but you can also do it in general. And here I will select a voice and I will enter my text and generate the narration as well. And as soon as it's ready, we can save this to our playlist. Now I go to the playlist again. Here is a new folder, Cibola 8 narrations, and I take this narration, add it to the playlist. Everything is set on this point. Now I jump back to the scenes and configure here in the ambience tab that I want the playlist to start whenever I activate the scene. I select my playlist, Temple of Shadows, and save the changes. And now we're done with this first theater of the mind. And if I activate it now, two things will happen. It will open the image and it will play the narration as well as the sound. And while the sound will loop during the entire time I spend in the scene, the narration will only play at the beginning. I will show you how this looks like. So let me activate this.
A grand temple shrouded in darkness, with flickering torches casting eerie shadows on the walls. The air is thick with the scent of incense, and whispers of ancient spirits can be heard.
Okay, I think that worked fine, and now let's create the next theater of the mind we need to continue in our story, and I will do this quicker so you see how fast you can work with Cibola if you know what you want to do. So the first thing I need again is to copy the name. It's the Hall of Echoes this time. Copy it, go to the Cibola menu, go to the scene generation button, open the new generation and give the scene a name. That's the first step. Alright, second step now is to generate an image again, and therefore we already have a prompt. Again, you have different options to continue from this point, but the easiest way if you want two scenes to match is again go with the sketch function. So open the gallery, get the pre-selected scene from our first theater of the mind, and then we do a quick sketch with that. We copy the style and we enter the new prompt, and let's read through what it is. It's a hall filled with surfaces that amplify sound. Alright, okay, we just try how this looks like. We can always adapt the prompt if we want something else, and I go for image generation. And this is our hall. It's a big beautiful image which fits the style of the first one. We can easily select it, so I will just save it. And as we now need to add music and narration to it as well, it's even easier because we already generated two songs with the first scene. If you remember, I didn't use the second one, and maybe we can use this now. So the background music prompt is here, but I will go for the intro scene instead, and I'll take this and enter a new narration. Generate audio, narration, pick the same voice, enter the description, and then we can start with the narration, and during that time I can go to, already finished, I can go to the music tab, start a new playlist and add the narration to it. Okay, there we have it. We don't need to loop this. And now I show you where you can see your pre-generated songs, although I will generate this new one anyway. So I take the music now and start with that, and while it generates I will show you where you can find the ones you already have. So make sure not paste it into the lyrics area. In this case it's a description of the sound that I want, and I put it here. If you enter it into the lyrics area it will generate lyrics, and also make sure to uncheck this button. I call the song The Hall as well. And then I will again add that I want a background movie theme, and we generate this as instrumental only. Okay, and while the song generates I will show you where you find your previous ones, and this is with the 3 dots in the top corner of every Cibola window. Here you can access the gallery, and the gallery also is available for your songs. So if you go to My Songs, there you will find all the songs you generated so far, and pictures are your pictures of course, and it's possible to access the community gallery as well. Okay, now we should have already the first song. Yes, it's already there. So always make sure to scroll up if you generate songs, because this can be a bit tricky if the songs are hidden and you wait and they're already available. So now let's play the first one. No, that's not my style of music. So let's go for this one, and we save it to the playlist as well. Song is generated, and now we can connect all the parts to again have a great intro and a beautiful scene. This time it's the hall. I add it to the playlist. I select the loop for the song, and then I can associate it with the scene again in the configuration window within the ambience. And that's it. So the second intro is ready, and I will activate it now.
A vast hall filled with reflective surfaces that amplify every sound. The walls are adorned with murals depicting the history of Cibola 8, and the echoes of footsteps create an unsettling ambience.
Perfect. So as you saw, this can be really quick, and now we have to go for our characters, and it will be the same with them. So we can take the name, go for the Cibola editing window, add an actor, generate one called Isel, and he is without a folder as well. And we're back in the main Cibola editing window. At the moment the character has the standard image, and we can do the same thing that we did before. So as with the scenes, I will try to set a style first. It's also possible to take the image style of a scene for a person. I will show you that. So you again go for sketch style and prompt. And here we go. This is our first character. She's perfect. The image is super realistic. She's looking great. I will save her, and now I can show you something very cool as well, which is the tokenizer. It's a great plugin I already introduced in the beginning, and as you see, it already generated a token for me. I can leave it like that if I want, but of course you can also delete everything and start from scratch. You can select a frame. Let's go for this frame, and then you can import the image into this token. You have to change the layer though. Now you can adjust it, zoom in, zoom out, so that it's looking exactly how you expect it to look. Okay, this is our token. Now we apply that, and when I go to our character now, I can bring her to the map. If the token looks too small compared to the theater of the mind or the image in general, you could easily adjust that by changing the grid size of the scene. You do this in the settings as well. You can go for configuration, and here you can change the grid. So let's say I go for 500 now, and then the token will be much bigger. Talking about the image, by the way, I think it would be nice to have a better view on that. So maybe I will also do that while we complete the description of this character. I do this at the side, and I want just to expand this image because the view is nice. That's the wrong one. The view is nice, but I think the hall needs a bit more space. Let's close everything so I don't get too confused. Okay, here we are in the Hall of Echoes, and now in this hall, we need to go to the Cibola main editing window and select the advanced editing. I go for expand and I zoom out just a little bit, like 1000 pixels, and I can do that. And while it generates, I take the description of our first character and put it to her biography as well. And that's it. So character is ready and we can now do the next one. That's perfect, isn't it? Here is our first character and now we go for the next one. This is also our expanded theater of the mind, also beautiful. I maybe widen it a bit more. Just expand it to the left and to the right this time, so I get a more widened image. And as before, while it's generating, we can do the next actor. So the next actor is here. I do a new one with the main Cibola editing window. Generate a new one. And this time I will use a different AI to show you the difference in the style and view they give you. So here is the prompt. Let's see which AI we have selected. Let's go for this one and select a character, of course, image generation, and start this. Meanwhile, I can save this image here as new background. And here is our next character, also already done. Okay, we take the biography for him as well. Save this image. Go to the protagonists and edit his biography. And now we only have one more to go. I can again make a token of this guy by opening the tokenizer here. It's also already a beautiful token. And we do the last character. I'm sure if you play around with those functions on your own, you will soon realize how much of fun it is using those AI tools. And also it's amazing because you have so much freedom in developing your game. There is almost no limitation of what you can do. And of course, if you get creative on your own, it gets even better. You can generate stuff just to surprise your players. You can pick up stories from the past and surprise them with things they didn't expect. Oh, this time the style is not what I expected. Okay, so we will do something else with that image, because of course you could just regenerate the image with a slightly different prompt, but this time we can use the sketch function in another way and we can try to change the style in this case, because the last time we used it we kept the style and this time we will use it as a sketch. So I will just enter the prompt again and I will use the outline of this image to generate a new one. And here I can also do a negative prompt and I will try it this time. So what do I not want to see in the image? I say I don't want to see circles, because I will try if it can remove the circle around the image. If not, there are different options to go, but maybe that's already working. So let's have a look what happens if I do this. So I enter circle shapes and I go for image generation. Not that bad. It's too realistic though, but it removed the circle and it truly changed the style. I mean, have a look. If you compare that, that's crazy. It's so amazing what you can do with these AI tools. This picture looks like it is real. It could be a real photography of an old spiritual guy. And this is exactly matching the outlines, even the nose and the stuff he's holding in his hand is looking exactly the same. That's crazy. Of course, this is not a picture for a virtual tabletop. So in this case, it didn't work out, which is not a problem because it still worked out somehow. And now we will generate a new image from Sketch. So I go to the AI configuration again, and let's go, for example, for a new AI that we implemented just a short time ago, which is Stability AI, the newest model. And they have two. One is really quick and the other one is a bit better in quality. I will go with this one now, and I will select a character as well, of course, and then I can jump back to image generation and just try what the AI makes out of this image prompt. One thing that will surely increase the chance to get a good result in this case is also adding something about the style you want to see, because here it's only talking about an elderly man with a long beard. And so now I will add that it's a guy in a magic Aztec city. So this will for sure help a little bit, and we do the image generation. I can put this to the side so we will see the result as soon as it's ready. Much better, I'd say, and also very fast. So try this AI. It's really an amazing tool, and it gives you good results as well. It can do a huge variance of styles, but I like this actually. So I will save this. Of course, it could be a bit darker because it's a Halloween special, and I could again go with sketch and style. But to me, it's more important that you see as many functions as possible. And there we had a lot so far. We generated great characters, and now we just need the object to finish the story. And while I'm talking, I realized that I didn't save the image, but that's not a problem. So I copy the name again. Maybe the actor is already created, but I think not. So I copy the name again and do a new actor from the gallery. My picture should be there. Yes, here it is. I can save it. I can give him a name, and I can also save him as a protagonist within the top folder. Okay, save this, and description. It's here. And then we open the character in the biography. Fine. One last thing to do, and this is the object. So it's a raven's feather amulet, and objects are amazing because objects are something the AI seems to do with a lot of fun and passion. The most objects you do with the AI really look great. So I go to generate and I select an object in this case, and we could go to the generation, and here's the image prompt. Okay, we will again use the Stability AI, I think. Let's see which one is configured at the moment. It is important to check that from time to time because objects and characters use different AIs. Not every AI is capable of generating a character, but some of these simple AIs are also very fine when it comes to objects. So now I go with the one we already used before. I enter the image prompt and do the generation, and again, this should be a very quick one. And it was, but that is not an amulet for me. So I will do an addition to the prompt, and I will say as a necklace. And we go again for generation. Okay, so this time I think it's amazing. Look at this, it's a small raven head at the end. That looks fine for me. So that's a beautiful object, magical and beautiful colors. I can save this with no doubt. Okay, we're done with the list. We generated all the scenes, including a spoken intro. We generated the characters. Each and every one of them has a biography, and we generated an object. So now let's go back to our other scene and do something which we have to do because of the day. And this is using the InPaint function. If you open an image and you go to the main Cibola editing window, then you can do an InPaint, and it's also in the advanced editing tab, and there we can replace and remove stuff. And I will replace something here, this and this, with a spooky Halloween pumpkin. And now, as it fits perfectly to the topic of this video, we can take the time to do a short recap of the functions in Cibola 8 we included so far. As an overview, always begin with adding the Cibola 8 macro to your menu, and there you have a quite good impression of what we integrated so far. You can do a chat, threads will be following soon, you can generate a scene, an actor, an item, audio files as well as narrations, and you can do localization and translation of Foundry content that you created. Within each generation tab, you have the possibility to add whatever you want to improvise during your game. You can save this in specific folder structures, and we give you a lot of advanced editing options which go beyond the process of generation itself. You can pick from a library, may it be your own or the library of the community, and take a moment to see how great the results are that the community already shares. Those characters look amazing, and they're all the same style. As I said before, it is not a problem to do an adventure exactly how you like it. You will need to practice a little bit though. AI is not self-explaining, and it's not an all-knowing god or an artifact that reads your mind and knows what you want. You have to train with the AI, and you have to train the AI as well by adapting your prompt a little bit, and then you can get almost everything to enrich your gameplay or generate own content. Whenever an image is selected or generated, you could edit this image. For example, you could do a sketch out of this image, you could copy the structure or the style. You could even do sketches in Cibola 8. I showed you that as well before. So here you can, for example, do a simple layout of something and then tell the AI to make it real. You also have the option to do editing in the images, so you could replace stuff. You could, for example, replace this tree with something or the sword. You could do removement of stuff that you do not want to have in the image, or you could expand it in size by using the zoom or specific values for each and every corner of it. If everything is fine and you're happy with the result, you could easily crop the image as well as remove the background with different AIs, which also do a great job. Finally, you can save or upscale your image, share it with your friends, and post it to the community. So if you love creative virtual tabletop, inspired by spontaneously made decisions of our players and influenced by your common history with your group, I hope we can say that we achieved a lot in the last month. I hope you see it the same way. Please share with me in the comments, and if you like what you see and if you want to generate your own images using different AI tools in a professional interface that helps you to directly interact with Foundry in all your favorite virtual tabletop systems, it would be great if you like and share this video, if you follow us on our YouTube channel, or even support us on Patreon to use those tools for yourself and help us build the pyramid. I hope you enjoyed this video. I wish you a lot of fun and success. Use these tools to get creative on your own. Thank you very much for your support on Patreon, and see you in the next video.